Good morning, Dr. BV Ramana Reddy, and I welcome you on YourPedia.
Good morning, and thank you for making me on board to having a wonderful conversation with Dr. Vijayendra Singh. And I really enjoyed talking to you since the last 15-20 minutes, maybe what we call as breaking the ice, we call it in idiomatic language, trying to understand your perspective and trying to give my perspective and certain things. Anyway, I'm very excited to be here, and
I'm delighted, sir, to interact with you after so many years. You have been my teacher in NIT Hamirpur, and presently you are administrative head of very prestigious NIT Kurukshetra. So I have collected some interaction points, Professor Reddy, and I'll be discussing those points with you. And they are generic points and related to the domain of your expertise, not only technology but general life also. So if you allow me, I would like to initiate, sir.
yes, please go ahead.
So, Professor Reddy, my first question is very relevant for today. I keep on visiting various colleges and institutes, and one thing which I observed is like core engineering branches among students are losing its charm. Like we find that a lot of students are going only for a couple of engineering courses like computer science and all. But when we talk about mechanical engineering, civil engineering, textile, chemical engineering, electrical engineering, students are lesser interest, so much so that in many of the colleges these branches are being closed down. So I want to take your opinion on this particular matter, sir, and how we can come out of it.
Okay. See, I have been into this field of teaching engineering subjects since the last 35 years. And a lot of things have changed in technology from the day when we graduated till date. Progression is always good. And if you look at the engineering education from 60s till date, there is a lot of transformation that has happened. And the first word I will use to coin these engineering fields is compartmentalization. Based on the discipline, based on the area of working, we have divided engineering education fundamentally into the what we call as the core basic branches in civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering. So they also evolved with time from polytechnics to engineering colleges. So the intent of all these engineering programs is to help the society in making, in general, the lives of people simple, and to an extent, the latest word that we use, to automate things for them. So from the basic definition of engineering, of harnessing the energies of this Mother Earth, converting them into useful products and applications has been a centuries old process. It's not just that in 1960s we came to this idea. So we did have engineering, we did have a variety of fields. You can talk about different sciences to start with, then we talk about engineering. So compartmentalization has happened, and anybody who wants to study in a particular domain, if he or she was interested, used to take that particular discipline. Come 80s, the kind of non-linear expansion of engineering has started. And many children who never knew that whether they wanted to become engineers or doctors or whatever it is, have suddenly started focusing that I want to become an engineer or a doctor or somebody else. Again, that compartmentalization is still there because our education also promoted this kind of division, where again we say it is a straight-jacketed education system, where a child is either put into arts or into sciences or into commerce. So we have evolved in education this way, that a child is evaluated based on his performances, whether he will be able to take an engineering program where maths, physics, chemistry could be the options, where if he is not really good at it, so the next level of understanding is, let us put him into commerce. So the next level of understanding is that these are the jobs he or she can perform. And finally, we have stamped those children who go into arts as the one who cannot do the education. And we have offered them a next level of courses where we talk in terms of IAs or IPS, or you can talk about clerical jobs, or whatever you call it. So in general, we have divided the education like this. Now, your specific question I wanted to answer, because if you're evolving things like this and suddenly you have come to a situation where you're now wondering whether to take a particular X or Y or Z, and whether it will give me a job or a prospects or not, because see, ultimately today's education is not driven by passion, is driven by the job market. So that makes it, who is deciding what Dr. Vijender has to study is decided by the parents, is decided by the teachers, and is decided by the education level or the marks level of the child. So these are the categorization that we did. And slowly but steadily, we forgot that music and dance are also equally important. We have forgotten. Or the society has taken a view that these are not really good trades or good areas to learn. But that is one part of the question to be answered is, today, when you look at the compartmentalization and the problem of the engineering colleges per se is, let's say today I started 30 seats in mechanical, 90 seats in civil, and 60 seats in electronics. So this is how they gave 240 seats in a college. And suddenly you find that there is a lot of rush for civil engineering. So you moved from 90, you made it into 120, and you curtailed the other side of the story where you did not get enrollments. So is it that the subject of civil engineering is good as compared to mechanical, or is it worse as compared to computer science? The answer is no. Education is education, and every field is equally important for the growth of the society. So the only question here you have been raising is employability. Enrollment, again, employability is again a twin you will always look into. And suddenly someday you find that civil engineering has lost a sheen. Out of 120, even not even 90 are getting a job. So then suddenly you start looking at what are the avenues where my child has to study. So, but then there is no reverse engineering, sir. You cannot go back after doing a BTech in civil engineering and go back and start doing a BTech in computer science. So again, that straight-jacketed model. Now, we have evolved in technologies, and today, I'm trying to answer your question. There is a very thin line dividing disciplines. You have to accept this fact. Now, whoever is thinking in these lines that a mechanical student is not having job, or everybody wants to go into computer science, engineering, so on and so forth, has to realize and understand one thing. Please go to the market and see. A mechanical engineer is also employed in an IT industry. A civil engineer is also employed in an IT industry. Why is it happening? It is happening because, like water, it engulfs everything. It is the need of every human being. Today, IT is a sector which is the need of everybody. It is an automation world today. So that makes it, I need an automobile engineer who also has the skills of IT. I need a computer scientist who understands the problems of other disciplines also. And he should be able to find solutions to their problems. So there is a common thread coming in between is that good for the evolution of technology, good for the evolution of education, that we are unable to again maintain those divisions of disciplines. We are now at this state that you have to learn interdisciplinary knowledge has to be gained if you want to sustain in the market. Or for that matter, if you really want to understand what is happening in the technology-driven society, you will appreciate it once you are having an eye on other disciplines also. So, rightly, the education policy has given this as an objective. No longer you're going to promote straight-jacketed courses. You are going to give a holistic education model. And two, go for interdisciplinary. If not, go for multidisciplinary approach of identifying subjects. You can name it as mechanical, you can name it as electrical, you can name it as computer science, but you are going to give a basket of subjects where the child has to take a minimum of 70% of the courses in the core branch where you are studying, and the 30% of the subjects which you are going to study can be drawn from any discipline. Even now we are planning, or some colleges and NITs have already started the idea of giving you a major and minor degree. So my major is mechanical engineering. My minor can be computational mathematics, which I have done, or for that matter, I can take a program on IoT as a 16 credit program. Now, in what way this minor degree is going to help me? See, tomorrow my employability improves when I talk about this. And any company who is pioneering in mechanical automation or mobile or mobility or e-mobility, there these people are more attractive than a core mechanical engineer who is coming to their placements. So we have to be intelligent enough in offering or mixing and matching things. And probably I would rather go a step further and say, why not music is integrated into your mechanical? Why not dance is a part of your civil engineering program? Or for that matter, instruments also. For that matter, even why not understanding the history? Why don't you understand the social behaviors and understand the economies also? You want entrepreneurs, you want industrialists. How will they come without knowing all these things? So let us leave this option to the child. So the real answer to this has been given by the education policy. Don't go with these straight-jacketed policies. Don't compartmentalize people, and give them the concept of STEAM. You have heard about it. Right? Have you heard about it? STEAM, science, technology, engineering, everything, management, arts, architecture, and medicine. So don't put limits on anything, because today biomedical engineering, and to the extent even today doctors cannot do diagnosis without the instruments, and without engineers instruments are not there. And even today, if medical science has grown to the extent that you can do remote operations. It's because of technology. So, the dividing lines are going. So allow the children. Why not a medical doctor interested in some knowledge about automation, some knowledge about biomedical instrumentation, be not allowed to do it? So my answer to your question is simple and straight. Change your education model, change your curriculum, make it interdisciplinary, if not multidisciplinary in approach. Bring in that 30% component inherently from other disciplines, or the other thing which is missing is the holistic personality development has been lost in this process. So even that component should be made compulsory across the streams. So that also will help in bridging the controversies or the confusions of human mind as to what to choose, how to go about, and how do we achieve. See, ultimately passion is important. So if you pursue your passion, no field of engineering or no medical field or no other field, and once you're pursuing your passion, I don't think job is a real problem. If your focus is on job, then you don't enjoy the journey. Just say jab bhi vet mein gana hai, the journey is more beautiful than the destination. So if you look at it that way, every day, every moment is enjoyable, but you make it so sad because the end goal is there before you. I have to land up in a foreign land is your goal. That will happen after 4 years, but you're worrying from class 5.
That's true.
So that's the process. Yeah, I think I have answered your question.
Professor Reddy, very beautifully you answered, and you gave some solution to this, which is very, very clearly told by you. That is interdisciplinary, if not multidisciplinary, approach should be followed. Major and minor things, courses can also be initiated. And as you rightly said, sir, our industries are in the need of such kind of skill set. So every technocrat needs to acquire those skills, and it is self-evolutionary way, self-evolutionary process, and it is going to take its own course. So beautifully explained, sir. Now I will be discussing with you little later, sir, about new education policy which we had, and you have mentioned a little bit about that. Maybe there also we find the reference to this very question. My next question is very, very relevant, sir, and you are the authority in that domain. In fact, for last couple of years now, you have been very articulate in this particular domains, which my next question I'm going to ask, and that is related to value education. Just before this recorded session, I started recording, we were interacting, sir, and you mentioned that there's a need of right education and not only right to education. Beautifully heard words from your side, sir. So I want your opinion on this, sir. What is value-based education? What is its relevance in today's era, when you already explained your generation, my generation, and present generation? So I want your
Great.
on this, sir.
Now, when you talk about value education, is it something new we are talking about? Now, if I have to give a referencing point, if you talk about ACT today or NBA today, their evaluation methods in NAC or whatever methods they are doing, their lookout is outcome-based education. So today's engineering or any education model, we are looking at outcome-based education. So all the parameters of evaluation, either in NRF ranking or your NAC accreditation process. So the benchmarking is whatever you are teaching, whatever you are offering as a course curriculum, are the objectives of that curriculum in terms of outcome, are they achieved or not? So what we do is today we are trying to evaluate everything in terms of, let's say I'm teaching engineering drawing. So if I'm teaching engineering drawing, there are certain objectives of teaching engineering drawing. So what do? There are certain components that I have to have a 3D view or a perspective view. I should know how to draw a two-dimensional pictures. I should know how to, I mean, there are certain objectives when we do that, right? You are rightly a person in the area. You should appreciate it that way. Now, there is nothing called value added to it. In a sense, you are being taught very nicely the basics of engineering drawing to the first level or second level of understanding, using Andy Butt's book as the base or somebody's book as the base. We did it almost 40 years back. So even today, I recall all the knowledge that I have learned through that. But was it relevant for me to study as an engineering student? The answer is yes. The perspective of an engineering student should not be that I am in an electronics and communication branch. Doesn't mean that all my understanding about engineering is centered around only this. It has to be broad-based. Every engineer should have a broad base and an understanding about the engineering principles, whether it is civil, whether it is mechanical, or whether it is this. And if you do not know, and I am not aware of it, there was a 5-year BTech program earlier. Now we made it into 4-year. So there, the first 2 years, we used to learn about the common subjects which are offered in every discipline. Even now, we'll have to revisit that concept of multidisciplinary approach, where I think first 2 years should be common and trying to understand every engineering discipline, and then into your domain of third and fourth year, because the industry wants it that way today. The industry's requirements have changed. So you also change with your education policies. Now, when you talked about value-based education, there are two important words which should have been considered in our education model slowly but steadily. After our independence, we have moved away from one of those words and resting on the other word only. Like if you look at 1947 and our forefathers who have written our first draft of education, any kind of a thing. So they have developed it, and there are wonderful names who have developed all this at those times. Kothari Commission is what we hear about very aptly. And if you go through that education policy, I would suggest you also should read it, because that was the very foundation paper or the foundation idea of what India should be after 100 years.
Okay.
Because the root of any society or evolving of any society heavily depends on the education of their subjects. So a right planning of education is a need for any growing country, or a country who wants to be number one in the world, or numero uno, or we even have a better word for this, Vasudeva Kutumbakam. We talk about the whole world to be one family. So that ethos and that kind of a belief is only in the Indian education system. Even that is not there today. So 1940s and before that, we did have this kind of a feeling that we are one, we are a part of the whole world, and the humanity first. Right? Today, we again are revisiting those ideas in the 75th year, when we are holding the G20 summit as a presidency, and we are revisiting our own ideas. That makes it value-based education is ingrained into our DNA. But we have lost during the last 75 years. So, when I say value-based education, there is nothing new which I'm talking about. It is already there in our DNA. And what is that we are doing is revisiting those ideas, revisiting those concepts. Again, I thank the country, the leadership, who has again brought in, after maybe 25, 30 years, a new education policy, which is now centered around value-based education. If you go through the document of anything, nowhere you will find the word value-based education. But the heart and core of National Education Policy 2020 is value-based education. Now, what are those two important words, or rather three important words, which would have been a game changer had we followed these truthfully from the first education policy document? They talked about three things. One, any education should be able to give that kind of education where I can earn my daily bread.
Okay.
Yani, some trade, something. And we know we had 64 trades, hands-on trades, and we were excelling in any one of these. Their music was also a trade, dance was another trade. There's so many trades there. Gem making, or you can say diamond cutting. There's so many sciences, so many engineering fields, which even we now have given some names. We had it. So, was there any difference between a computer science and an electrical engineer then? Each one of them were given equal importance, because they were there, and each trade was equally important. Is sociology not important today? Is history not important today? Is languages not that important today? So everything is equally important. But as a society, we have given importance to certain things over others. So that's the problem. So when they said it, they never said promote engineering or medicine or science or this astronomy or physics. They never said it. They only said give them the education by which they can earn their daily bread. It can come through music also, it can come through anything. So they never compartmentalize things. It's an open-ended thing. The second thing they said very importantly is man-making learning. This is the second statement they made. All the education that you give should, I mean, there is a debate now. Why did they say man? Why did they not say women? So it was not about men and women. It was gender neutral word used. It was never a gender word. So men and women, if I have to put it this way today, so both of them needs to be given character, needs to be given values, need to be taught the importance of being value based. So holistic पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट, उस वर्ड का आज के एनईपी में आया है होलिस्टिक पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट. उस टाइम में उन्होंने कहा है, क्या बोला उन्होंने, दे सेड गिव हिम हिज ट्रेड ऑफ अर्निंग ब्रेड टू Make him a person who is a man-making personality, meaning thereby holistic personality development. ये दूसरी बात कही गई है. Okay, उसी में एक और hidden word है, values. करने से क्या होता है? You will also follow ethical rules while you are an engineer or a medical professional or any other trade. Like I have something in my office, which is read by everybody who comes into my office. Now, there are so many things that you can keep in your office, but one thing I kept is something which gives you pointers towards what is ethical behavior, moral behavior, and value-based behavior. Like, for example, there are small things. Like, for example, how do you treat your class 4 employees? I'm a director today, right? So, do I change my human behavior? Should I change my ways of dealing with people? It's a question. Now, if you have to follow the hierarchy, you have to sit in ivory towers, not meeting anybody, not showing your face to anybody, keeping this idea through your middleman that he is a very strict man, you can't reach him. So any problems, you have to sort it out with me. Now, you see the behavioral, these things. So I can treat my people, connecting myself to everybody, or I can create a pattern and a hierarchy where I will keep myself aloof and then start working. Which model will work better for you? Which is a better value-based model? Which will give you a better outcome? Evaluate for yourselves. You have seen a film wherein a Jadoo Ki Jappi was shown to you through a film. And you see the inherent message that is given in that. You recognize the importance of the person, appreciate his work. A class 4 person also will work in a way which is equivalent or better than you as a director. Because we have given importance to roles. We have given responsibility to the dress. We have not evaluated the human being anytime. This is missing in our education system. And this is creating division of societies. This is creating what we call as haves and have-nots. This is creating a system of a hierarchy. This is creating a system, my religion is better than your religion. Where is the problem? The problem is not in religions. The problem is not in societies. The problem is in your mind. The problem you're creating through your education model. So now the second thing, whatever you teach, you have to teach it in such a way that values are a part of that trade also. It has to be imbibed into it. It cannot be a separate classroom kind of a teaching कि आपको ब्रिज बनाना है तो ऐसा बनाओ ताकि वो 100 साल रहे. ऐसा मत बनाओ कि इसमें से मेरे को 40% कट मिलेगा. Getting the point? So values have to be a part of your learning and they have to be implemented in your trade. Right. What will happen if I do this? I'll be recognized as a good person in the society. Number one. Number two, I have a satisfaction that I have done good to the society. Number two. Number three, you don't create any medical problems for yourselves कि कल कोई आके मेरे को पकड़ेगा because I have done corruption. So the problem of corruption is not that कि कोई आके मुझे पकड़ेगा. The problem of corruption is कि कोई आके मुझे पकड़ेगा. ये डर itself is going to create a problem for me, for my health. So why should you follow values? I'm giving you a perspective. Why is it good to follow?
Why it is required?
Why is it good to follow? Right? So the second thing embedded with the first thing. So having good value, that makes it, today I want my outcome-based education model to be reread as a value-based education model. So what is the difference between these two is outcome-based model looks at the material prosperity or the improvement in it. I'm accepting it. That is needed. I never said it is not. It's not a bad word. It is needed. And everybody is following, pursuing it with utmost zeal and enthusiasm. Good for them. But if that be so, why there is a 70 to 80% diverse rate in this world? Why there are so many problems around us in the society? We should have been growing faster. We should have been. So something is missing in our society. And what is that missing? We'll talk about it later. And it means a value-based education model is going to nullify the ill effects of the society, ill effects of your mind, and probably you'll be a better citizen, a better inhabitant of Mother Earth, rather than a cruel person who is going to create a problem for Mother Earth. Right? So this kind of a thinking has to come out. Acha, you are the only species who are going to inherit Mother Earth. There are few lakhs of species on Mother Earth. You want to wipe them out? Okay, will you survive if you wipe them out?
Yes.
At least give them this knowledge that if you don't sustain all others, you are not going to live. Even this is moral education. This is also an education of value-based education. If I construct a city, am I going to wipe out all the what we call a flora and fauna? Am I going to do away with all the animals there? Is it the right way approach of developing your cities? And the answer to that has come before you. You have created a polluting city. You have created a garbage. You have created a concrete jungle. You have created now dying cities. This is your progress. If you call it as progress, then my outcome-based education is successful. If not, the idea is go for value-based education. Teach these things also, saying that good things are good, bad things are bad. However, good things lead to good things or good outcomes. Bad things will lead to a situation like this. So this knowledge has to be given to the child. That makes it. My objectives of value-based education is, if I am studying a paper on engineering drawing, what is the value addition to it? Ask your question, what is the value addition of learning this program, or what is outcome plus that outcome leading to some value? So this is the basis of value-based education. There are so many things that are at an advantage when you go for value-based education. I'm not talking in detail about all of them. Like universal laws are there, and everybody wants love. This is another very interesting thing, that we are all in search of happiness. We are all in search of love. Do you get love and happiness by increasing the material world?
In fact, it is the reverse.
It's the reverse. So that makes it, my objectives are something, I'm pursuing something else unknowingly. So is it not the necessity of the society and the education is give this idea to the child, where the child is going? So this is how the basic idea of value-based education has to be. And the third important thing which is enshrined in that is develop entrepreneurship skills. In these three things, honestly tell me, how many are being practiced during the last 60 years, 70 years? We have come down to only one, and that is earning your daily bread. Karo ya maro. This is the kind of thing. And how many we are sending out of the country? Is it really necessary that we send our own talent in search of jobs to the outside world? Another question that can come up later on. And did I answer your question, or still you want me to talk on value?
Wonderfully, Professor Reddy. And after every your elaborate answer, I provide a very small, precise crux of what you said, and that is what I'm going to do for this also. You very rightly mentioned, sir, that there is a race of materialism. In fact, end outcome may be important, but only end outcome is not important. Even Father of Nation, Mahatma Gandhi, said that not only ends are important, means are very, very important, and that is where you, I think, value education comes up. Means
right. Closing down with this question, because I did raise something, that there is something which is written in my office which everyone reads. So I'll give you those 7 social sins which are relevant even today. When Gandhiji said, politics without principles, wealth without work, pleasure without conscience, knowledge without character. This is where we are centering around why we need value-based education. Commerce without morality. Science without humanity. Worship without sacrifice. So all these are certain things which I think Mahatma Gandhi ji has realized are very, very important things to be wiped away from society.
Yes.
And all the seven are equally important. You talk about principles, you talk about wealth, you talk about pleasure, you talk about knowledge, you talk about commerce, you talk about science. They are all looking towards the material growth. Good, अच्छी बात है. But उसके साथ क्या होना चाहिए is value education. So these seven social sins, if you understand them and make it a part of our education model, I believe we will definitely become the owners of the world. In a sense, the whole world becomes one, and we will be the masters in telling the whole world that you can live in happiness and harmony only when you realize this fact, the word Vasudeva Kutumbakam. It is only possible with value-based education, nothing else.
That's true, sir. And we historically we have done that, and we can do that today also. Very great.
Yes, we can do it. I think in a 20-year time. You don't need again another 75, 100, 200 years. We can do it in the next 20 years,
Wonderful.
provided we start from the primary education.
So, Professor, the first two interaction point, which were very elaborate from your side, and where we discussed about first was like interdisciplinary approach you talked about, and then you talked about value education. In passing reference was given to entrepreneurial things also. That brings us to another important interaction point that is related to new education policy, and you have mentioned that in your previous two answers also, sir. I want you to elaborate on what is your experience so far as educationist, as academician, now as administrator of very reputed educational institute about NEP 2020, sir. And may I ask you about the implementation of this particular document in your own premium institute, NIT Kurukshetra?
So we want to shift our focus to NEP 2020 and how is it implemented at NIT Kurukshetra. Taking cue from the third point, entrepreneurship, or you want me to give a generic, all the 3 points?
Earlier two interaction points we have been talking about NEP, sir. And there's a reason NEP was one of my interaction points. So I thought it, better to now discuss about this particular NEP. That is what is the relevance, how do we see that, and how far we have implemented it.
Okay. Now, as I said, the very first document revolved around these 3 points, right? Even today, the education policy is revolving around these 3 points.
Okay.
There's no difference in it. Okay. The only difference is how we interpreted it over the 6, 7 education policies and what was implemented and where we went wrong. This is something that we need to evaluate. But in essence, no education policy has removed any of these ideas. Ideas are there. These things were there a part of the documentation. But where we went wrong is we selectively took out things out of it. Okay. We selectively implemented certain things. And it was viewed by different political parties in a different way. And ultimately it reflects in the society. Right. So that has happened in the whole process. So all the 3 are equally important in any education policy. Right. So now I will not truncate, I will only concentrate on one and forget about those 2. No, even here it will be all the 3 things that the education policy is talking about, whether it is primary education or whether it is higher education. The moot question is, how do we implement it? Number 1. And number 2, do we have a mechanism of monitoring, identifying where we are going wrong, and any quarantine measures taken, and have somebody been hanged for not doing the right thing? Because for me, education is a very serious business. Anything which goes wrong, today we start blaming one part with the other part, the second one with the third one with the fourth one. And ultimately, no one is responsible for this. That's not the way. It has to be a responsive reaction system. And I'm not going into how we're going to monitor and all that. That is something which needs to be taken care of. But the moot question here is, how do we implement education policy 2020 in the current higher education? I'm focusing on higher education only because I'm looking at higher education. Now, I have started working in these lines since 2010.
Mm,
We got in 2020.
mm,
But as an individual, as a faculty,
mm,
I started looking into these ideas from 2010.
mm,
That's the reason I'm very clearly telling what is the first education policy talking about, because I went through the whole policy documents.
mm,
I just wanted to understand, was there a lack of vision,
mm,
or there is a lack of ideas, or is this that a lack of implementation strategy? So I worked on all the aspects. Then I realized whether we analyze and find faults and do that, the other side of the story I started is, what should I do as a faculty, having done 30 years of teaching
mm,
technologies to the children,
mm,
having understood I'm not blind to the evolution of the society.
mm,
I'm not blind to the problems that the current generation is facing. I'm not blind to the problems that my student as a higher education candidate is facing.
mm,
I know all of them.
mm,
Now, I have been evaluating on all the front that the challenges of my current child is thousandfold than what I was as a child in my higher education.
mm,
So, can I change this? Yes, we can change this. How do we change this? Think about what is the problem that the student is undergoing. What are the things you can inculcate into them or add into that?
mm,
So, I think you also have heard me saying something, teaching something. Last 30-35 years while teaching, I always inherently added values into my teaching.
mm,
When you say, how do you add values into your teaching? I'll give you an example of culinary skills. No food or no curry is so interesting when it has got the right ingredients added into it. Anything added more is going to create a problem. Anything less is also going to spoil the broth.
mm,
So you need to, as a teacher, you need to. Now I know I have to teach only the material front.
mm,
I know that this is the only thing that I have to do because that is what is going to give him a job.
mm,
But while doing so, I always had examples of human being at the center of everything. Even now, I can give you one small example. You're all fascinated with IoT. You're all fascinated with automation. As a mechanical engineer, you don't understand what is happening on the other side of the round until unless you have that curiosity. Is that
mm.
okay?
That's
You
true.
may have, you may not have. But if I have to create that curiosity into you
Mm,
as to a mechanical engineer can also become a good engineer, robotic engineer, can
mm,
become a good, what you call as driverless car models.
mm,
How do you design those things? Is
mm,
it only through imagination you're going to design the whole thing, or you're going to learn it through some kind of examples?
mm,
So, for me, this example of a human being
mm,
cuts across all disciplines.
mm,
Does it have any problem with mechanical engineer or a civil engineer or an electrical engineer? Talking about a human being.
mm,
Human being is the center of everything.
yes.
Two invalid questions. Do you know anything about yourselves?
Mm,
You know nothing about yourselves.
mm,
And you're not even interested in learning about yourselves because your world is all about
mm,
diodes, transistors, ICs, and IoT.
mm, mm,
You're focusing there only on the material front. You've never even thought about who am I?
mm,
Why am I getting up every day? Why am I sleeping? Why am I thinking? What is my goal? You never thought about it. Probably because value based education is not a part of your education. So forget about it. How do I involve a human being into the whole thing?
mm,
I teach technologies by referring it to the human being because it is easy to understand,
mm,
assimilate, and get to an idea. Yes, if as a human being I can do this, probably I can also do it through a machine.
mm.
So I keep asking. I mean, you can edit some parts if you feel it's going a long way,
No, it's a
but still,
wonderful
my
conversation.
intent is not to make it high sounding and all that. Make it as simple as possible. Now, if I have to look at a computing world, how do I relate it to the human being?
Mm,
A computing world can be very easily compared with a human being.
mm,
A computer has got hardware,
mm,
a computer has got software,
mm,
a computer has got system software, it has got application software, it has got virus, it has got antivirus. These are all things that इसके अलावा कोई और है तो बताइए. It has got hardware, it has got software, it has got system level software and application level software, and further it has got virus and antivirus. Values are antivirus.
Very true.
And this is started from the womb. You learn everything from your mother. Mother is the first, what you call, computer scientist who gives you antivirus. This is what you get from the womb, and you start learning. Right? Where is your hardware? Your hands, legs, everything, eyes, your 5 visionary things. आज आप speaker बनाए हो, है ना? आप और मैं कैसे बात कर रहे हैं? You have extended my 5 senses. As simple as that. I am able to hear you, you are able to hear me. I am able to listen to you, you are able to listen to me. I am able to see you, you are able to see me. तो ये senses हो गए ना? वो senses हमने conquer नहीं किया है. मैं technologist को बताता हूँ. वो क्या है? Simple words. I have not conquered the world of taste. नहीं तो मैं यहाँ कॉफी पी रहा हूँ, आपको टेस्ट आनी चाहिए.
Yes, sir.
नहीं आ रहा है ना. दूसरा स्मेल, कॉफी का अरोमा मैं ले रहा हूँ, वो आपके पास आ रहा है क्या? नहीं आ रहा है. अच्छा, बाकी सब कर सकते हैं, हैंडशेक कर सकते हैं. कैन वी हग ईच अदर थ्रू दिस मॉडल? पॉसिबल? Touch. I'm trying to give you the examples. So that sense of touch, the sense of what we call as taste, the sense of smell is what we have not conquered as of today. But I promise you, another 20 years down the lane, you will have all of the 3. What did we do now in technology? We just mimic the human being and trying to do the same thing onto a machine. इससे अलावा कुछ और कर रहा हूँ क्या? So can't a mechanical engineer understand this logic? Anybody on earth will understand this logic. Do you have a processor? Do you have a processor?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
You have a processor,
yes,
right? Do you have a communication network? You have. You have an IoT in your body?
Yes.
You have. You have a sense of touch. You have a sense of seeing. That's why you are able to drive the car.
It's true.
So it's nothing but a world of technology which we are trying to mimic the human being, and we are calling it as, what do we call these technologies today? Intelligent, AI based, है ना? यही words use करते हैं.
Artificial word we use.
Artificial word is only for this purpose. Knowledge, intelligence, data, all this. Don't we have memory? We do have memory. So all that what we are doing is, अच्छा अभी भी आप एक चीज, do you have one brain or 2 brains?
Left and right.
है, but processor कितने हैं? सिंगल. तो आज के डेट में आपने कोई भी हार्डवेयर देख लीजिए, प्रोसेसर एक है या 2 है? सिंगल. इट मीन्स वी आर स्टिल मिमिकिंग द वेरी आइडिया ऑफ अ ह्यूमन बीइंग. कहीं पे भी यही होता है. तो द नॉलेज इज एक्सप्लोरेटरी लाइक दिस. आप किसी भी फील्ड में चले जाइए, वी आर ट्राइंग टू डू दैट. सो इफ आई टीच ए स्टूडेंट लाइक दिस, will it give him a better understanding of human being as well as a machine, or I just teach only machine and forget about a human being? So this is a cultivation which I develop for myself in teaching, because I believe in one thing: a student will only understand a new thing when it is compared with a known thing. This is again the essence of the basics of teaching. So I am following that. So Chitvi Meri, Patvi Meri. This is how you have inculcated an idea. I have evolved it that way, and I have been teaching. Come under my 30th year, I realized ये सब बकवास हो रहा है, because things are going wrong in the society, and suddenly I'm only talking about technology. So somewhere you will have to bring back that value addition. So that's the reason I'm talking about technology. Yes, I'm a technologist, but today I am more into talking about other sides of the story rather than technology. What should I do? Produce more PhDs, right? Do more of research in the area. Then only I'll be counted as the best technocrat in the world. right? कितने patents है मेरे नाम पे, कितने books है मेरे नाम पे, यही है ना parameters. But my worry is, at my deathbed, I'll feel bad that I have got 400 books, I have got 5,000 papers, I have done 1,000 patents, but I have dig my own grave because no grandson or granddaughter is around my deathbed. Because they are busy with their technology. They're going to see you dying through their video. So that's the kind of thinking, that's the kind of people. Now you see, if somebody is lost in some home, we just write RIP, that's it. We don't go. We don't even call. We only say RIP. Where are that human relations going? Technology is driving a wedge between us, and this is not good for the mankind. China, bleeding today, a lot of problems they are facing. As a human being, I feel the same as if I'm a member of their family. A problem there is a problem to me also. No?
Yes, true.
So where are we losing this kind of emotional this thing in our lives? Why are we saying it's a different world? We are a different world. We are a part of the same world. Corona affected us the same way as it is affecting them today. So that's the reason I say value-based education is that important now.
Very truly said, sir. Now, Professor Reddy, I'll bring your attention to engineering education. Though you also mentioned a little bit about we should have exposure. You made some kind of learning we had from the nature into our actual technological learnings. I want to bring your attention to experiential learning in engineering education, sir. Learning through experience.
Now I'll start with this, that I'm integrating the ideas of education policy in the previous question that you raised.
Right.
I've not completed it, but then we took a pause and took the next question also. Good for that. We'll integrate these two things together.
Right.
I'll start with, again, the very ideas. Why were we the most sought after universities in the world? In the name of Takshashila and Nalanda and others, Vikramshila. Why were we counted on that? It means we were counted by the whole world that here is a space where we are getting the best education in the world, and this will transform their countries if they learn from this point. I mean, this is very, very important. It's not just that I go and learn something. This has transformed their way of thinking. Take the case of China. The Buddhism that is evolved there, the root cause of that is the Indian education system. Nobody counts it on today. Now you only see these CCP and how the communist parties are ruling. But if you look at the Chinese and the DNA in them, they are all Buddhist in their thought process and philosophy, which again they draw from India. So that makes it, our education system was counted by the whole world as the root cause for growth, not only of education, education for the growth of society and well-beingness. So they came here. So what was that kind of education model which our systems offered to the world? And today we are following the Macaulay way of learning things and rushing towards the West to learn what we have taught to them in yesteryears. So the cycle is changing. Again, we are coming to the same cycle as to what we had, what we lost, and what is that we have to do again. Again, this is reflected in our education policy. How is it reflected? I'm coming to that. Now, this education policy, which we talked about, Nalanda, Takshashila, they offered a model which is entirely different from the model that we are following today.
Okay.
These two models are entirely different. Okay. You also use those words which I mentioned earlier. The first thing, how did a human being learn anything? It is through nature.
That's true.
I gave you another example in the previous statement, that is the human being the center of my teaching technology.
Right.
Now, what was the basis of our learning? Who was the teacher there? Nature was the biggest teacher. Music kahan se aa gaya? It is from the nature we learn. Colors kahan se aa gaya? It was through the colors of nature. The changing climate, the changing weather condition, the changing cycles of sun and moon. We learned a lot of things. So, what is happening to our current education system? We are losing sight of learning through nature. Is the fundamental deviation that we did. That is why, again, we are talking about primary education to be done in mother tongue and to be done in nature till 5th standard. Kyun keh rahe hain ye? Because we know the importance of it. We know the importance of playing in groups. We know the importance of playing with mud and doing something. आपकी creativity और innovation जो आज के buzzwords हैं, that curiosity in you, ये कहाँ से आता है? Does our education system promote creativity, innovation, and inquisitiveness? No. So this is the second deviation. We have lost because our focus of evaluation is not on creativity, innovation, or inquisitiveness. It is based on rote learning methods.
Yes.
Second deviation. Third deviation. Do we have a common mother tongue?
No.
So, have this country has ever evolved a system where you have one language as the root of all mother languages?
No.
Okay. So what kind of integration, what kind of unity, what kind of nationalism are you going to bring in your own country? Forget about other countries. So teaching in mother tongue is one of the solutions for our unity in diversity. We accept different religions, we accept different dialects, we accept different languages. But there should be some common thread which binds you. Should it be English which should be binding India? Sadly, it is today. So we need to evolve on this front, which they had only one language, and that was Sanskrit. They taught everything in Sanskrit. Medicine, engineering, jo bhi ho. Good. That is again another thing that is brought into education policy. Teach in your mother tongue. Even now they're talking about engineering also, but it suddenly can't be done overnight. Systematically, it has to be done. For me, it should start from the primary education. Another 20 years, whatever you want, you will achieve. Because you are incrementally doing it. You can't suddenly change something. So you need to do that. The third deviation. We are all English driven. Primary, secondary, higher. I mean, lucky or unlucky, I was like that. But we had a 3-language formula.
Yes, sir.
I had Sanskrit also, I had Telugu also, I had Hindi also, and then English as a medium.
Yes.
Now what is happening? Minus all languages. Because that is not needed for your IIT exam, right?
Right.
So you don't need to study them. Or don't give such importance to them. What is to be given importance is the maths, physics, chemistry, and English. Because English will only give you the roadmap to go higher. Because every education is in English. So that's the problem. So इसके अलावा हमें कुछ नहीं चाहिए. लेकिन ideally, if you look at it, if I'm talking to you, am I talking to you in English only? No, I'm thinking in Telugu.
That's true.
Because that is my mother tongue and I've been evolving like that. So whatever I get, I'll be thinking in my mother tongue, but trying to convert it into, because I've learned 4 languages. So, आता है मुझे convert करना. But I will be better expressing in my mother tongue, that's for sure. So develop one common language for this country. Whichever you feel like, I'm not going to fight on it. Right? Whether it is Sanskrit, whether it is Hindi, whether it is Telugu, I'm not interested in that. Or else, education policy always said, primary education तक अपने mother tongue में पढ़ा लो, बाकी देखी जाएगी. है ना? At least do that. So this is other deviation, which they wanted to bring back. And the fourth deviation, which I already suggested, is the method of evaluation. एक में बताया मैंने. Method of evaluation in this particular case is specific to each student. In the case of Takshashila or Nalanda. Now it is group. दीक्षांत वहां एक बच्चे को देते थे, यहाँ दीक्षांत सारे ग्रुप को एक साथ में दे दोगे. There was a student teacher connect individually. Here there is no connect. Volume है ना. So you will have to evaluate that. How do you work out? We'll have to think about it. I'm talking about the Gurukul system versus the fundamentally the way we are learning. Some may be a slow learner, some may be a fast learner. What is the sixth deviation? The sixth deviation is, even before your child is born, you would have decided what he has to study. You will never ask a question to your child कि आपको क्या बनना है?
That's true.
Because you have already decided his path. So, in this education system, a student used to be put into that path which he is capable of or interested in. Whereas we are forcing a child to do what we want and what he is not interested in. This is another deviation. जहां पैशन नहीं है वहां उस चीज पे क्या आप शोध करोगे? अच्छा, मैं शोध क्यों करता हूँ? शोध इसलिए करता हूँ ताकि मैं एक इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज में प्रोफेसर बन जाऊं या एक रिसर्च ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में साइंटिस्ट बन जाऊं. क्या मेरे अंदर वो वाली बात है? Nobody is going to question because I have got 10 papers. You are not going to question me anyway. 10 papers मेरे हैं तो आपने ये बोला ना 5 papers होने चाहिए, है ना मेरे? No, don't ask questions. Give me a teaching assignment. Number 2, do you have the teacher in you? Do you have the passion for teaching? Is anybody evaluating on that count? You will count. 10th में first class होनी चाहिए, है कि नहीं? है. 12th में first class होनी चाहिए, है कि नहीं? Yes. Same is the case with higher education. So if you have the requisite qualifications and if you have the relevant papers, interview has certain weightage. Accept it. But how much? So finally you are in. 35 साल के लिए टीचिंग में आप बैठे हो और बर्बाद कर दिया बच्चों को. Because you are not a teacher at all.
Because that was not checked.
It was not checked. So दीक्षांत की बात मैं कह रहा हूँ. दीक्षांत, हमारी दीक्षांत ये है, उनकी दीक्षांत वैसा होता था. इफ यू लायक होता था तो सोसाइटी में छोड़ते थे, नहीं तो यहीं पे बैठो. यहाँ पे तो उल्टा होता है, इनको निकाल दो सोसाइटी में, वो ब्रिज सही बनाया बुरा बनाया हमें कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ना. So these are the deviations, right? So what did I do at NIT Kurukshetra in implementing NEP? The first statement I made on my website is, we are trying to transform NIT Kurukshetra to become the modern Takshashila. This is a big statement which a normal director of an NIT should not make. But I made it for myself. Okay, let us try this. If I am successful, I can be happily going to my grave. If not, I have tried. I failed. No problem. Because society I can't change. I can only change, and my contours are clear. NEP 2020. That I can do. I'll only do that. But in doing so, I gave you the explanation. It is nothing but transforming it into Takshashila. If I do all of them what they want, it's nothing but going back to that. As simple as that. So I am only using those paraphrases and words just to give you an idea. Otherwise, this is all the same thing I'm doing. So 3 चीजें जो एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में है वही मेरे को इम्प्लीमेंट करना है यहाँ पे. सो होलिस्टिक पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट. इस साल से 22-23 के फर्स्ट ईयर के बच्चों के पास 12 ऑडिट कोर्सेज मैंने दिए हैं. 12 ऑडिट कोर्सेज. And the number of children are 1200, and they are given this basket of 6 courses in the first semester, 6 courses in the second semester. 12 courses. They're called audit courses. A child can choose 1 course from each semester out of 6. Okay, so what are the courses I offered? What is it so different from other engineering curricula? My focus is on holistic personality development. So what do I do to inculcate these things into my child? Out of 1500 engineering graduates, You wanted that thing also, na? Medical engineering भी question
Yes.
tha.
Yes.
If you honestly ask me, we are producing 15 lakh engineers. And how many are retained in? I'm just working on the statistics. 2 lakhs are in India.
The rest go out.
13 lakhs are going out. Are they unsuccessful in India? Are they really waste persons we are sending outside the country? The best cream is inside the country?
No.
Or our industry is considering only the best 2 lakhs and sending all the 13 outside? Think about it. So your smile tells you everything. What we are doing is a damage to our own country. By utilizing the taxpayers' money, I'm very clear.
That's true.
Pumping in crores of rupees into higher education, producing best brains coming after through an entrance test to me, and I'm producing them in 4 years, and all of them want to go abroad.
And they're serving there.
And they're serving as a second-rated citizen. And we are doing it since the last 60, 70 years. So I'm not going to make any comment beyond this. Is your country growing? Is somebody else growing? It takes a good 20, 25 years to develop your manpower.
Yes, sir. Parental effort, teachers' effort, country's effort, taxpayers' money's effort. You created
So
a
many
product
things,
for
right?
serving some another nation. That's true.
Somewhere else. Think over this point.
Well,
I'm trying to nullify this through this process. What am I doing is, in these 6 subjects, one subject is IKS, Indian Knowledge System, which is recently brought in by AACT also and UGC also. And the intent is to connect our current technological advancements with what we had in our earlier system. Takshashila ki baat ho rahi hai na? Kahin na kahin aa raha hai. So again, I'm clubbing these two things. So you are taught engineering graphics, you will be teaching them. Do it. You are a wonderful teacher teaching engineering graphics. I have no doubt on that. Do we have a similar science or a similar teaching way back in our ancient times? If yes, as a teacher, can you explore it? If yes, can you ask your student to further explore it? Any problem? In order to ignite these ideas, we are doing 2 things. One, make this subject a part of the audit course. Let's say out of 1200, 200 want to learn. Let them do that. I have to give them the freedom. I should not force anybody. That's one thing I gave. So already 150 children are doing it. They're studying IKS as an audit paper. Like every child wants to go abroad and earn dollars. Similarly, every child would want to earn credits. So I have given a credit. It is in the credit system. Mainstreaming holistic personality development into mainstreaming subjects. ये करना जरूरी है. नहीं तो हम बहुत इंटेलिजेंट लोग थे. हमने क्या किया over the last 30-35 years? Co-curricular, extracurricular, without any credits. घर में माता पिता क्या कहते हैं? इतना मत खेल खुदा मत करो, तुम बस अपनी पढ़ाई पे ध्यान दो. 9 out of 10 families will do that. क्योंकि उसमें क्रेडिट्स नहीं है. आपको समझ नहीं आ रही बात. अगर क्रेडिट्स होता है तो पेरेंट भी पीछे पड़ता.
खेलो. That is true, sir.
So that's the fact. So we have done that. So they are coming in. The second paper that we have given in these lines is a paper on human values and professional ethics.
Okay.
A second paper. पढ़ो, समझो, क्योंकि हायर एजुकेशन में तो कुछ ज्यादा समझने की बात नहीं है. वो तो जो भी है वो प्लेट बदल गया. टेम्पलेट तो तैयार है, कुछ चेंज नहीं होने वाला. लेकिन एटलीस्ट इस पे तो अंकुश लग जाएगा कि तुम्हारा ड्रग्स और तुम्हारा जो बाकी जो वेला टाइम है कैसे वेस्ट करते हो, उसमें तो थोड़ा सा थॉट प्रोसेस तो आएगा. We can change something in you. The second subject added to it, and this I have done it in 2010. in IP University with lot of resistance. Why? Because this cannot be taught here. I also know. It has to be coming from the basic template. It has been lost. Suddenly I can't change it here. Put an effort. Why? Because the challenges are there. So we want to solve somewhere. That's the second paper we gave. The third paper we gave is Introduction to Gita. We are in Kurukshetra. And the knowledge of Gita is always a good thing to be given. The fourth paper we gave is on Vedic mathematics. Want to study Vedic mathematics? Go for it. Improve your skills as an engineer. That's what Vedic mathematics says. If you are good in Vedic mathematics, probably you would have better cracked your entrance exam. So Vedic mathematics is needed there also, not only here. So you go for Vedic mathematics. It's a good thing to do. ये दिया हमने. इसके अलावा 6 languages दिए हैं. 3 Indian languages and 3 foreign languages. ठीक है? 4 + 6. 10. एक आध कुछ भूल रहा हूँ, कौन सा दिया है, क्या है. इसके अलावा हमने एक और काम किया है. हाँ, yes, yoga. Introduction to yoga. We made it another audit course. Not only that, ये papers हमने किसको दिए हैं? 12 to the first year, this year students only. तो इस curriculum में लेके आए हैं. But this is open to second, third, fourth years, MTech and PhD students of seniors to take these classes on Sunday.
Okay.
We did that provisioning also. But there is no credit for them. It's only out of interest you have to come. ठीक है. इसके अलावा 12वां जो पेपर की बात हो रही है, that is for your emotional and spiritual health. उसके लिए हमने क्या किया? Thought Lab शुरू किया. Thought Lab is a place where you will be evaluating yourselves as a human being, trying to understand your strengths, your weaknesses, and trying to build your personality by improving your emotional and spiritual health. इसके लिए बायोमेडिकल इंस्ट्रूमेंटेशन भी हमने प्लेस किया है वेलनेस के लिए. अदरवाइज सुसाइडल टेंडेंसीज हैं आज के डेट में बच्चों में, डिप्रेशन है, उसको ये सब्जेक्ट इंटरेस्ट नहीं था, उसको जबरदस्ती दिलाया गया. सो ऑल दिस थिंग यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट काउंसलर्स, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट ए साइकोलॉजिस्ट. इसको ऐसा नाम ना देते हुए हमने इसको थॉट लैब का नाम दिया है. Okay. So this is a unique idea and a contribution by NIT Kurukshetra for its own children. इसके effects क्या होंगे वो time बताएगा. But this is an effort that we are doing so that things might change in their lives. ये हो गया. इसके अलावा we are promoting NCC, NSS, yoga as a regular programs. NCC, NSS yoga के लिए भी credits दिए गए हैं. स्पोर्ट्स के लिए भी क्रेडिट्स दिए गए हैं, क्लब्स के लिए भी क्रेडिट्स दिए गए हैं. दैट्स मेन स्ट्रीमिंग एवरीथिंग. आप भी गए होंगे क्लब्स, आपने भी स्पोर्ट्स एक्टिविटी किया होगा, लेकिन उसके लिए ना कोई रिकग्निशन था, ना मेडल भी लाए, ना कुछ भी लाए, वो आपके क्रेडिट से कोई लेना देना नहीं था. तो व्हाई विल आई गो? मेरा इंटरेस्ट है तो जाऊंगा, नहीं तो नहीं जाता ना, मोटिवेशन नहीं है. सो दीज 12 पेपर्स वी हैव इंट्रोड्यूस्ड in order to inculcate these ideas into the children, and you choose your subjects. 3 Indian languages mein we have added Sanskrit, Hindi, Telugu. You will be surprised, Telugu is my mother tongue, so I have pushed it into NIT Kurikshetra. No, the idea is, since the last 40 years, Telugu is the second language of Haryana.
Okay,
this is a fact.
That I was
Yes.
not knowing actually.
That's why I told you I want to make it clear. And people might think, you might be thinking, ये अपना language लाके रख रहा है. Not like that.
Okay, good. So how people in Haryana use, sir? Why it has come that way out of inquisitiveness?
Okay, it is because the chief ministers of Haryana 40 years back were very good friends.
Okay.
So they exchanged these ideas that you, like अभी सऊदी अरेबिया में मैंड्रिन पढ़ा रहे हैं ना.
Right, sir.
अभी आपने न्यूज़ में सुना होगा.
Right, sir.
Mandarin is Chinese language.
Right.
So the Chinese are offering Mandarin to Saudi Arabia. Similarly, tomorrow we will be offering Sanskrit to the whole world.
So that is very good because that helps connectivity and it enhances the business also, sir. Right now,
Definitely, yes.
presently, I am from Himachal Pradesh, but presently I
Mm.
am sitting in Hyderabad. And I know that when I visit places, if I know Telugu, how comfortable it would be for me
It will
also.
be.
People.
It will be.
That is true.
So these are the 12 things. And then I said NCC, NSS is what we have done.
Right.
Through NSS, I want to build an ecosystem
Mm,
where we have a slogan,
mm,
back to villages.
mm, mm. Okay,
There are so many things I can do going back to villages.
that's true.
You know where I am hitting? I am hitting reverse brain drain.
Mm,
वो
yes.
कहाँ से आएगा? Because see, if I showcase and show my children the problems of my society,
Mm,
my villages,
mm,
probably you will be thinking in lines of solving them as taking them as problems. Use your technological brain, come up with a startup, make your own industry, make your own money, which is 10, 20, 30 times more than what you can earn going abroad.
mm,
Number
mm,
one.
mm,
Number two, you will become a good entrepreneur in India by offering services to 100 to 200 children in this country.
mm,
And that is lacking in this country. We need to do that.
mm, mm,
And there is a second reason why I'm hitting this back to villages. India is an agrarian state, having 6 lakh plus villages.
mm,
Imagine NITs, IITs, IIMs, universities focus around 70 kilometers of their area.
mm,
What will happen to this country?
mm. It's true.
Right? One. Two, did you find anything waste in a village? We all come from villages.
Mm,
We denounced it. We are not going back to villages.
mm,
We don't want to go also. Why?
mm,
Because we do not have all the facilities that we have in a city.
mm,
So we can't go back and sit there. No electricity,
mm,
no proper roads, no proper communication. This is why we don't want to go back.
yes, sir.
Then the real challenge is there with you.
Mm,
Why don't you translate your technological knowledge?
mm,
Learn from West.
mm,
No problem. Learn from anywhere on earth. I
mm,
have no problem.
mm,
But implement it in your own country
mm,
for your own sustenance, for your own development.
yes, sir.
Do that. Then you will grow faster than any other country.
Mm, mm,
जो कल्चर आपने अभी 2014 के बाद शुरू किया, हैकाथॉन से शुरू किया,
mm,
स्टेप कॉन्सेप्ट से शुरू किया, साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप पार्क से शुरू किया,
mm,
फिर उसका नाम फिर आप लेके आए स्टार्टअप्स का कल्चर लेके आए, इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर्स की बात की आपने, अटल इंक्यूबेशन या जो भी है, रिसोर्स पूलिंग की बात की, उसके बाद आपने कंपनी स्टार्ट करने की बात की, उसके बाद एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप स्टार्ट करने की बात की. ये सब क्यों नहीं हुआ इतने साल? अभी क्यों बात कर रहे हो?
mm,
Should have been there from the start. Because this was the third point written there. We have never cared for it.
mm,
Okay, good that we have started.
mm,
2014 से शुरू किया. The same thing should be implemented in my NIT also, na?
mm,
So
mm,
what do? I start giving you problems first. मेरा minor project, मेरा major project, मेरा end thesis should be centered around a practical problem,
mm,
not a theoretical one.
mm,
तो गो 6 months इंटर्नशिप करो, जाओ विलेजेस में जाके देखो कहाँ पे क्या दिक्कत हो रहा है.
mm,
ये टेक्निकल सॉल्यूशंस है. तो अच्छा ह्यूमैनिटीज वाले और मैनेजमेंट वाले कैसे लेंगे प्रोजेक्ट्स? क्यों नहीं लेंगे?
mm,
इवैल्यूएट द प्रॉब्लम्स देयर,
mm,
सर्वेस करो, आइडेंटिफाई करो, प्रॉब्लम्स डिफाइन करो, हमें फिर वापस दो, वील फाइंड सॉल्यूशंस टू इट.
mm,
आपका काम है, हर एक का काम है यहाँ पे. So
mm,
do that. So back to villages is the real way of really making this country a global
mm,
वर्ल्ड लीडर. सो हमने ये वाला प्रोसेस शुरू किया. कितने गांव गोद लिया है? अभी तक तो 5 ही लिया है. कितना लेना चाहता हूँ? हरियाणा में 6000 से ऊपर है, 6600 सारे ले लूंगा. आइडिया तो है, आइडिया तो शुरू करो. मैं क्यों कर सकता हूँ एज ए डायरेक्टर? मेरे पास 6000 बच्चे हैं,
mm,
इतने सारे बच्चे हैं मेरे पास,
mm,
300-400 टीचर्स हैं.
mm,
कहाँ जाएंगे ये सब लोग? केवल केवल टीचिंग लर्निंग ही करते रहेंगे क्या?
mm,
कुछ और भी तो सोचो. Start thinking beyond your classrooms. Bring in these ideas. Bring back to your table. Start working. If not 100 problems given to you, 10 solutions de do. And imagine something translated into a commercial product.
Even better.
अच्छा अंग्रेज आप आके आपकी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करेगा? He will not.
You have to do.
You will have to find your own problems. Yes, technology is already there. Use it. We are good at giving low-cost solutions, na?
That's true.
Give me low-cost solutions.
This
We are
back.
good at re-engineering. We are good at re-engineering.
Yes.
We are. Use our brains for re-engineering. X के जगह पे एक solution था, उसी को उठा के लाइए यहाँ पे Y और Z पे लगा दो, काम हो गया आपका. You don't need to do reinventing the wheel करने की जरूरत नहीं. So we are going with that idea. Maybe the ideas go beyond this. I can tell you hundreds of ideas of going around, weaving around this idea. But just the last line which I want to tell you is, in April, I joined in February. In the month of April, UP government came up with a bid that they want to transform their economy 4 times and become a 1 trillion economy. And they were asking for a bid. Anybody on earth can come and help us in attaining this $1 trillion economy.
Okay.
I applied for it.
Okay, good. As director of Kurukshetra, NIT.
Yes.
Okay, good.
After 2 months, what did I do? I took help of other agricultural universities, NITs, everybody. They're all become my members. I gave the bid saying that we will transfer your economy because the wearer knows where the shoe pinches. मेरी problems मुझे पता है, ये अंग्रेज बताएगा. Good that we have evolved 75 years of excellence. Good that we have so many NITs, so many IIT. Why don't you use them? इतने सारे आपके इतनी बुद्धिजीवी लोग हैं, इतने हाई एंड रिसर्च करते हैं, तो क्यों ना वो आप आइडियाज यहाँ पे इम्प्लीमेंट कर लो ना. कोई बात नहीं, 4-5 साल से हम अंग्रेज को हेल्प नहीं करते, हम अपना कर लें. We'll do a good job. आपका 1 trillion क्या 2 trillion बना दूंगा. Inherently, one thing you learn from me today. Did you find sustainable technologies in the village or in the city?
That is in villages, sir.
ये जानते हो ना?
Historically, they were sustainable units.
इसका मतलब जो आज आप देख रहे हो 2022 में बेकार टेक्नोलॉजीज है ना सारे. They are not good for the society. They are not good for the cities.
At least
they are not good for the mankind. And they are only good for GDP.
Yes.
Right? You know the fact. You know the roadmap. You know where you are going. We are all going to doomsday. मरना है क्या सभी को? मरने के लिए सारा ग्रोथ चाहिए हमें? No. So the slogan today is sustainable developmental growth. है कि नहीं?
That's true.
ये कहां से आएगा आपको? Sustainable developmental growth आएगा कहां से? Learn from your villages. You will know that there is no waste in the village. They were happy people. They were समृद्ध लोग थे. समृद्धि क्या होती है? Not money. Health wise, happiness wise, wealth wise, community wise. You find that they were better. अच्छा, इतना दूर की बात क्यों कर रहे हो? मैं 2020 में 21 में मैंने सर्वे कराया था through my NSS units. I have got 15,000 NSS volunteers in Delhi. I have created. They all, if not some, have done the survey, and we that villagers have not been affected by corona.
Yes, that is fact. That is our observation also, individual level.
है ना?
Yes.
And we have written it to the PM's office. That here is villages they don't have. Reasons क्या हैं? कभी आपने इसके हमने खोज भी कर ली. Reasons are very obvious, and we all know about it. One, healthy lifestyles, physical work, unadulterated food and milk and other things.
Strong immunity.
Right? Strong immunity system. नो मेडिकल फैसिलिटीज, मैं आपको दूसरी साइड भी बताता हूँ, नो मेडिकल फैसिलिटीज, नो सैनिटेशन, नो प्रॉपर डिस्पोजल सिस्टम, ये सारे दिल्ली की बात कर रहा हूँ मैं, किसी और जगह की बात ही नहीं कर रहा हूँ.
No antibiotics.
नो एंटीबायोटिक्स. तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि हम गाड़ियों में घूमना बंद करें तो बेहतर होगा, फिजिकल एक्टिविटीज बढ़ाएं तो बेहतर होगा. इसलिए आई कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड ऑन हरियाणा इज एनीवे कैपिटल ऑफ स्पोर्ट्स. मेरे लिए वो आसान है. मेरे पास अच्छे अच्छे स्पेसेस हैं यहाँ पे एनआईटी कुरुक्षेत्र में. कम डाउन समडे, इट्स अ वंडरफुल स्पेस. वी हैव प्रमोटेड ऑल गेम्स. I, as the director, visited Nagpur for playing cricket, visited Hamirpur for playing shuttle. I am leading from the front at the age of 58. You're playing and you're winning.
Yes.
So that's how the game is. The day you are fit, mentally, physically, agile, you are there alive. Otherwise, you are dead. तो ये चीज हमारे बच्चों में भी तो होनी चाहिए. बच्चों को भी भेज रहे हैं. We are spending a lot of money on sending children here and there and giving credits for sports and yoga. So this is how we'll have to go back to our roots. That's again the point I'm telling you. So learn technologies from village. I'm not going to elaborate on that. I'll give you so many stories of villages.
Professor Reddy, I would like to ask here a very small, relevant point from you. You talked about back to villages. Now,
Yes.
what is coming to my mind is, like you said, okay, you can take many villages in Haryana as institute of reputation as NIT Kurukshetra. Now, there are so many such educational institutes. We have so wonderful teachers all over India. If I talk about, can you tell me very precisely, Professor Reddy, that if small remote area in India where there's an education institute located, let's say engineering educational institute located, what model is this for that college? I mean, what do you expect that college to do when you say back to villages? What is to be done?
Okay, fine. So you have again touched another interesting thing in my mind. Like you see, my students, there are about 6,000 of them. Have they any time saw a village?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Right? Have they any time saw how vegetables are grown or your paddy or wheat is grown? No idea.
Yeah.
Do they know what are the problems of the seasons and how the agricultural process is being affected? How much of wastage happens? How much of even after they get the produce, 20% of that is again wasted. Now, do we have any solutions to this? Then we conveniently say this is for the agricultural universities to look into, not us. But I would rather put it this way. Can I not do automation? Is the Northwest following automation? Are they not helping the agricultural fields to monitor, to reduce the problems, to automate things, to make livelihood easier? Are they not doing it? If they are doing it, why are we compartmentalizing ourselves? Why there is no interdisciplinary approach in your work? Why an agricultural university should be a standalone university sitting on earth somewhere, and I as an NIT has nothing to do with that particular unit? So when I had a bid for this, what will I have? I will have 1 lakh problems in my kitty. I will give these to my engineering disciplines कि ये problems है भाई, इसके solutions ढूंढो.
Understood.
Ab recently MSME Haryana has approached me. You'll be surprised how they approached me. Because I believe in connecting to people. My mobile number is available on the website. How many universities, how many NITs, IITs put their mobile numbers on website?
I have not seen anyone, sir, to be honest.
You will find it in the NIT Kurukshetra. All the numbers are available.
No, you said that I will surely check it. But I have not seen anywhere, sir. Head of the institute does
They
not.
called me. They called me on a Saturday morning, not on an usual day. They said, sir, we want to connect to somebody in your organization who can help us to move from this two-wheeler scooter to a e-mobility scooter. It's a challenge now. It's a big challenge and everybody has to do it.
Yes.
They said, okay, you come, sir, when should we come? I said, tomorrow, Sunday. They said, sir, we want to connect to a lecturer in the department. I said, I'm the director talking to you.
You connect me.
Come tomorrow on Sunday. Sir, is it possible to have a meeting on Sunday? Yes, it is possible. I'll have all the HODs sitting there. You come with it. They came, 10 people came here. I was sitting with my HODs. We have taken that work. Otherwise, this basic understanding of a problem and a solution takes years together that they don't know you, you don't know them, and you are not interested in them, they are not interested in you. Kab tak chalega aisa? Doesn't work like this. So, mere words should not be there. Something has to come onto an action plan. I may be successful, I may not be successful, but the process has to go on. How much success you will gain, time will decide. But you don't start a research with an end product in mind.
Yes. It's not a theoretical thing.
You have to start with it somewhere. Maybe you will hit something better than what you thought. काम तो करना पड़ेगा.
Right, sir. Professor Reddy, back to village is very important concept. Solve the real world problems, solve the issues, and nobody can be better than us. As you give the example of Uttar Pradesh, nobody can provide a better solution than us because we know the problems and we can provide the right solution. I want your suggestion now. I'm little deviating from what I have written, but I'm taking all the points from what the information coming from your side, sir. I want your suggestion on another very relevant point here. We have educational institutes, sir. We have teachers, we have professors, largely theoretically involved in their research. We have industries over there. You mentioned about MSME, beautiful example you gave. The way you got connected to them, you showed the initiative. What is your suggestion to ordinary engineering college, having teachers, maybe having industries in and around, how that particular college get connected to these industries? And I'm very sure industries have their problems. Not everyone feels like outreaching to the academic institutes. So what is your blueprint and what is your modus operandi for such kind of colleges and teachers, how they can get connected to the industries and in the process solve their problems?
See, let us see the problem first. I will compare the Western world or countries other than India with India. Okay. Now, education in other countries, if you look at it, the education models are in such a way that they have integrated industry with the education models. They never had a separate idea. There is a huge participation of industry into the academic world also. To that matter, many of the universities there are funded by industry and through other means, not by the government direct.
Yes.
So that makes it fundamentally the end user, the industry, should participate in the process of education, which is missing in this country since the last 40-50 years. But the end product is evaluated by industry, whether they are employable or not. ये कर रहे हैं, यहीं तक कर रहे हैं. And the second thing they are doing is, because no engineering education can be specifically targeting a particular industry. It has to be broad-based. I cannot do away with that. But today, students want to be industry ready by the time they are in final year, because placement की बात आती है. लेकिन हर industry के लिए हम तैयार नहीं कर सकते. So what is the middle path to this? What did the industry do? The industry, you did ask me one question. You have been looking after placements for quite long. How do you see it? I see it like this. The industry, like TCS, for example, they are mass recruiters. They take almost 70% of your students in one go. And our comfort level is high on that. How much they are paying is not important. 70% placement हो गया, ठीक है, is what we are looking at. Because in our books we'll say yes, we have given 80%, 90% placement हमारी तरफ से हो चुका है. This is one good way of solving the problem. The second way of solving the problem, the private industry, what it does, or private colleges, what do? They have tie-up with industry for giving them jobs for a month or 2 months and उसके बाद निकाल दो, तो हमारा placement हो गया. Is the second via media that they have done. So ultimately, is it the hands-on experience that is more important for you to join industry, or your internships or your other methods? These are other ways of looking at it. 15 लाख बच्चों को एब्जॉर्ब करना है इंटर्नशिप्स में, इंडस्ट्री में टाई अप के जरिए से. इट्स अ बिग नंबर. आई नो इंडिया इज अ वेरी बिग कंट्री आल्सो. इट्स नॉट 15 lakhs. मैंने ऐसे नंबर बोल दे तो डर लगता है सुन के, बट होल नेशन इज आल्सो वेरी बिग. There are so many spread industries. There can be an effort made by identifying the local industries, tying up with the colleges, and bringing in their problems to the college, and then finding solutions to them. Once you find solutions to them, they will be happy to come. But यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? They don't have confidence in the colleges. Where will they put their money? They'll put the money in IITs. जहाँ पे थोड़ा बहुत काम उनके हिसाब से हो जाता है, उनका सॉल्यूशंस मिल जाते हैं. I don't know how much percentage is successful there, but they will best bet for their money is IITs. NITs में IITs यहाँ और lower level पे आने के लिए नहीं करते. We are working on volumes. We are not working on quality alone. वॉल्यूम, ज्यादा नंबर ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स है. जितने प्राइवेटाइजेशन आपका 67-80% तो प्राइवेटाइज्ड कॉलेजेस ही मिलेंगे आपको. देयर ऑब्जेक्टिव्स आर डिफरेंट. देयर ऑब्जेक्टिव्स ऑफ प्लेसमेंट इज वन इंपॉर्टेंट गोल, बिकॉज उससे उनका नेक्स्ट लेवल ऑफ बच्चा आता है, इसलिए वो काम करते हैं. अदरवाइज उनको भी कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं है. दूसरा, हैकाथॉन्स ये वो आजकल प्रोजेक्ट करना शुरू किया है, अच्छी बात है, करनी भी चाहिए. एंड दे आर शोकेसिंग इट एज देयर बेस्ट थिंग कमिंग आउट ऑफ इट. पेटेंट्स. So these are only numerical things which are being showcased, and with a real essence of this is not there. The mood is not there. It is only that 100 में से एक बच्चा या दो बच्चा अच्छा सा कर गया, वो showcase कर रहे हैं हम लोग for our sustenance, not for really looking at it. So my suggestions are: one, through your NCC NSS programs, target the nearest villages and target the industries around you. फाइंड प्रॉब्लम्स, सर्वेस करो, प्रॉब्लम्स आइडेंटिफाई करो. आप बोलो कि हमें एक दिन के लिए आपके कैंपस घूमने दीजिए, या फिर आपके लोगों से इंटरेक्ट करने दीजिए, हम प्रॉब्लम्स तो आइडेंटिफाई कर लें. या फिर आपके पास सेट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स है, जैसे MSME मेरे पास लेके आ रहा है, हैव द गट्स टू एक्सेप्ट इट. I know we have no child, we don't have wherewithal to find a solution overnight, but accept the challenge.
At least try.
Maybe successful, may not be successful, ठीक है. क्योंकि हमारा ओरिएंटेशन वो नहीं था ना. हमारा एजुकेशन, इंजीनियरिंग एजुकेशन का ओरिएंटेशन क्या था? 70% थ्योरी पढ़ाना, 30% लैब्स कराना और बाहर कर देना बच्चों को, इतना ही है ना. एंटरप्रेन्योर्स बनाना हमने कभी नहीं सोचा, स्टार्टअप्स हमने नहीं सोचा, प्लेसमेंट्स भी हमने नहीं सोचा. अब आ गया कि उसके बिना हमारा दाल रोटी नहीं चलेगा, तो वी स्टार्टेड वर्किंग ऑन इट. NITs में 90% अब अभी भी मेरे को स्टार्टअप्स करने की जरूरत नहीं है, एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप की बात करने की जरूरत नहीं, क्यों 90 to 95% वैसे ही निकल जाते हैं. और वो जो बचे 5 लोग हैं वो भी अमेरिका ही जाएंगे, यहाँ नहीं रहेंगे. तो मेरे लिए कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, बट इन ए रियल सेंस इट इज अ प्रॉब्लम फॉर द कंट्री. इट्स अ वेस्टेज ऑफ पब्लिक मनी. वहां काम करना ही करना है. अभी हमारे कॉन्वोकेशन में प्रेसिडेंट मैडम आए, उन्होंने 2 अच्छी बातें बोल गए हैं. पहला, NITs being technological institutions, how are you helping the society and societal upliftment is what is important for me. Not the graduations, not the money. आपको कितना पैसा मिल रहा है इससे मुझे कोई लेना देना नहीं है. And she also made a very emphatic statement: money doesn't give me the parameter that you are good at technology. How much you are contributing to the society. She has challenged us and went back. पराले की बात किया उन्होंने, कहा कि क्या सॉल्यूशन है आपके पास कि इसको सॉल्व करें. टेल मी दैट. दिस इज योर प्रॉब्लम.
Yes, that's true.
Find a solution for
That is a
this.
parameter.
That's a parameter. So we at NIT, we are now looking towards that also. What we have done is we have identified one problem, which we call it as low cost housing, which is at the need of the hour. We don't want to pollute further. We don't want to create dying cities. What is the next step? Don't use cement, don't use iron, don't go for such constructions. Go for something which you can develop with the local materials. उसमें पराली भी हम यूज करके ब्रिक बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. हस्क है, पराली है, आपका वहां का लोकल जो भी है उनको यूज करो, काउडंग यूज करो, मेक योर स्लैब्स, मेक योर हाउस थ्रू दोज मटेरियल्स. मैं हॉलो स्टेटमेंट्स नहीं दे रहा हूँ, इसमें कंपनीज ऑलरेडी काम कर रहे हैं, उनको हमने कैंपस में लेके आ रहे हैं और वो और हमारा सिविल इंजीनियरिंग डिपार्टमेंट मिलके उसका मॉडल्स बनाएंगे जो कि सस्टेनेबल हो, जो कि इकोनॉमिकल हो और वो विलेज का मॉडल बने. Imagine this, I give it to all 6,600 villages of Haryana. I'll change something. And वहां पे लोकल यूथ हैं जिनके पास जॉब्स नहीं है, उनको ये टेक्नोलॉजी सिखाऊंगा मैं. इज इट नॉट ए गुड आइडिया? टेक्नोलॉजी ट्रांसफर कर देंगे, बड़ी बड़ी मशीन्स की जरूरत नहीं है. These are all ideas which I conceived for myself and I want my people to do. Similarly, you can go for ICT models, automation. कुछ भी कर सकते हैं, बहुत कुछ है आइडियाज. ये मेरे आइडियाज भी मानो मत, ये दुनिया चल रही है. इट इज नॉट माय आइडिया, दे आर ऑल देयर. I just have to implement it here. So cost solutions लाने.
But there is a wonderful idea, sir. I think it should be in that direction only, because that is the real purpose of engineering education.
Right.
Go back to villages and solve the real problem of these industries.
So villages मैंने include कर दिया तो मेरे इर्द गिर्द में जितने इंडस्ट्री है वो भी आ ही जाएंगे.
That is very true, sir. Now, sir, I come back to NIT Kurukshetra, the institute which you are heading, sir. And my question is related to Institute of National Importance. NIT Kurukshetra is Institute of National Importance for the past 14 years now.
Yes.
So, what is the impact of this tag on the growth of institute, sir?
Historically, when I started my journey, it was REC, right? In 2002, they were converted into NITs. And the idea behind that transformation from RECs to NITs was, earlier it used to be a center-state relationship. So some part of this was maintained by the state and some of them were maintained by the center. So somewhere along the lines, maybe the central government thought, let there be one agency or one central command over it. Maybe, I don't know what was the real reason, but they coined it as National Institutes of Technology. And in 2002, they gave them this status and sent 100% centrally funded. So everything is controlled by the center. So a new act has come, ordinances, statutes have come. So we are following that. Along with it, somewhere somebody's mind might have worked and they must have decided, no, these institutions should also have the cap of a similar level of an IIT. So that was the thought process, and they want to elevate the system to that level, and probably they have given the word institutions of national importance. Because I was not a part of the system, so I'm using these words if and but. Otherwise, I would have been very certainly saying it. But now, having taken over as a director at NIT, and this tag is already with me since the last 14 years, what is that the NIT systems have achieved? Now, there are some structural changes they have brought in. Number one, entry-level faculty will also be having a PhD. ये उन्होंने पहला चेंज, ये क्योंकि IIT system का pattern है. They have minimum a PhD holder should be there in the system. And number two, since it is centrally funded 100%, so best talent can come into the system. इसीलिए उन्होंने PhD का कर दिया होगा, और salaries भी on par with IITs कर दिया है. This is not done in universities and others. So structural changes लेके आए हैं, और इनको वो freedom दिया गया है डायरेक्टर को. Director is now 5 years. Principal होता थे, अब director रहे हैं. Right? He will be there for 5 years. He is given a roadmap and you are asked to do it. And this is how it is. इसमें जितने भी अभी जो, because I came in 2022, by that time the ministry is seriously focused on implementing NEP 2020.
Okay.
So all our concentration is there. Now the question whether we have attained the status of national importance, because there is something which is given to you, there is what is to be attained. Now when you say a quality parameter is something which keeps on moving and incremental hai. Now you cannot say that I have reached everything there. So similarly here also, they have identified these as important national importance key institutions. So we have to elevate ourselves to that level. Now the structural changes to leke aa gaya. What are the practical problems? Practical problems are, we did have somebody who is having an MTech continuing here. We did have somebody who is on contractual because PhD available hai hi nahi. So we in the initial years, Kurukshetra jostled around these problems. 75 court cases and no faculty selection since the last 7, 8, 9 years. Even if they had, the courts intervened and results were not out. So all these things put a pressure on. See, ultimately, the heart of any educational institution is the teachers. If you don't have sufficient teachers in the organization, how do you elevate yourselves to the national level character? Not possible. When I say these are the problems, what would I do? The first thing is I have to solve the problems. So what we did is we did understand the the viewpoint of the courts, and we took a cautious decision by employing people who on a regular basis with PhD without disturbing the court's order,
Okay.
right? And we now have 112 faculty in place,
Okay.
all of them PhD holders.
Mhm.
That means there are people in this society, there are a good number of PhD holders, but the process has to be complete.
Yes, sir.
Now we are doing it for the non-teaching, 150 vacation positions we are advertising today. And we are going to do it for another 100 teaching faculty in the next 2-3 months. That means I am running the show with 50% of the available manpower. So naturally, there are certain quarters where I will not be able to improve until unless I concentrate on strengthening my this base. This is what I do. So these changes will bring in a lot of good changes into my system. Then I'll be able to focus. The second thing I focused on is the educational reforms and implementation. First year I did. Now what we are doing is to reform the second, third, fourth year scheme and syllabus. I've got 1 year time. And for your knowledge, NIT Kurukshetra is inviting all directors for a meeting in this campus at NIT Kurukshetra for implementing ABC, Academic Bank of Credits. How do we promote NCRF, National Credit Framework? How do I ensure inter-NIT movement of a student going from one point to another point in the 4 year system? How do I add polytechnic students into lateral entry system, which is not prevailing in NIT as of now?
Yes.
How do I promote multidisciplinary courses in NIT campus, which I have already conceived 7 of them? 7 MTech programs, which will solve your problem of compartmentalization, and it will solve the problem of dwindling civil mechanical जो आप बोल रहे हो ना, उसका आंसर फिर और एक क्वेश्चन में देने की कोशिश करता हूँ. How you can do this and how you can do it. When I do this, my employability will be 100%. I can tackle all the problems of my society by promoting minor major projects and allowing my children to move into villages. Indian knowledge, Indian ways of living, Indian ways of sustainable development are the key to the success of NIT Kurukshetra. and for that matter the society. तो ये सारी चीज systematically मुझे करना है. And the next thing on my plate is we are 60-year-old and we are in our diamond jubilee year. And since the last 10 years, we have not added one brick. So I have a commitment in the next 3-4 years to build 4 to 5 new hostels, 70 to 80 faculty quarters, multi-purpose hall, a school in the campus, Kendriya Vidyalaya. So if you ask me, I think while I am talking, I should be doing something now, because otherwise I'll not be finishing all of it in 5 years.
Yes, but still I'll engage you for some more time, sir, because my questions are not complete as of now.
Okay.
So my next question to you is related to training and placement, sir. As we all know, you have spent a lot of years in TPO as a TPO
Yeah,
in
yeah.
reputed institute. So I would like to ask you, sir, about the training and placement activities in NIT Kurukshetra. How are they? And when I am asking that, I'm asking about graduates also and postgraduate students also. Largely postgraduate students feel that they get neglected in placement activities. And also I would like to ask your view on what do you think about placement and what do you think about career. I mean, when we talk about career development cells, when we talk about training and placement cells, these two words look like different. So what is your opinion on that, sir?
See, the question you asked is you were a TPO for quite long. I was never a TPO
Okay.
to start with.
Okay.
I was the chairman of placement cell
Okay.
at IP University, not at NIT Kurukshetra.
Okay.
So there the mandate is different.
Okay.
There the mandate is we have developed IP University since the last 24 years. Now we are entering 25th year.
Okay.
I'm still a faculty there. So that's why I can say my institution, because I'm on deputation to this place. So since the last 25 years, what was the mandate given to us? Because I joined in 2022. So 22 years I am there. So I'm a part of the system still, and I take pride in its growth story. Uh, we are the one school which is taking care of all technology courses, and we had another 7-8 schools in the campus, and we have almost 1 lakh children in the city under us as on today, and it is the affiliating professional university of state of Delhi. And we have more than 135 colleges under us. So 135 colleges, 1 lakh children, and you have all courses starting from medical, engineering, everything, pharmacy, you name, and we have everything, architecture, management, law, biotechnology, chemical technology, everything is there. There is no course that is left. We even added what we call as skill development courses also. BVO courses भी हमने चालू किए थे. अब आप सेंट्रल लेवल पे आपका चैलेंज क्या है? It is not the 4,000 children in your campus for placement. You have 96,000 children in the affiliated colleges who are also to be placed. So my mandate is not just college, my mandate is the university. So the template and the level where I am sitting, we were looking at all the types of students who are having, let's say, a BSc program kind of a thing, or a BCom kind of a program, or a BVOC like a program, where elemental level उनको job चाहिए तो उसका sector अलग है, engineering है उसका sector अलग है, उसमें भी तरह तरह के डिसिप्लिन्स हैं, जो कि आज के डेट में कंप्यूटर साइंस एंड आईटी में पहला बच्चा जो है प्लेसमेंट में जाता है एज कम्पेयर टू अदर्स. यू आर ऑल्सो सेइंग ना कुछ कॉलेजेस में इसमें इश्यूज हो रहे हैं, वो तो होंगे ही. सो आई हैड माय प्लेट फुल देयर आल्सो विद वैरायटी ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स टू बी टेकन केयर ऑफ. सो वी हैड अ सेंट्रल ऑफिस which does the hand holding for all the affiliated colleges. What are the 3 things we did for the colleges was, number 1, we created an ecosystem where we had a central organization which takes care of all TPOs and their problems. 1. 2, whoever on our website, whoever companies wanted to talk to us, we used to liaison and give this connect between the industry and the respective college. Maybe I'm not offering biotechnology on a large scale. So then there was somebody who is doing it. So we connected to that college. So that we did this as a second experiment and we were successful. And the third thing we did now was anytime when you visit, with the 25 crore rupees, we have come up with a facility which is the centralized placement cell, having all its paraphernalia like 200 systems for doing online exams, 10 chambers for interview and all that. So we were conducting placement melas where thousands of children used to come to the campus. So these are the ways, because see, this is not, it's a volume business we are talking about. We're not talking about individual this thing. So this requires a concept, and Atal Incubation Center लेके आए हमने, company बनाया है, entrepreneurship को promote किया है, major project competitions करवाए हैं, इंडस्ट्री को बुलाया, वो जो आउटपुट था उनको दिखाया, और हमने प्राइज मनी के तौर पर वी गेव सीड मनी फॉर डूइंग रिसर्च टू दोस टीचर्स. सो देयर आर गुड आइडियाज देयर आल्सो, बट द सक्सेस ऑफ दैट डिपेंड्स अपॉन द विल, कंप्लीट विल ऑफ द सिस्टम एंड हाउ पीपल वर्क. इसमें प्रॉब्लम्स क्या रहता है कि हर कॉलेज जो है अपनी प्लेसमेंट के बारे में सोचता है, दूसरे के बारे में नहीं सोचता है. Whereas the center thinks in a different way. They think in a different way. There are certain things which here and there things don't work. So as far as there also, when you talk about, if you look at from the university from a bird's eye view, I want to see कि 1 lakh में कितने employee हुए हैं. This is how the statistics work. But like for example, if you ask about my school, I have got 100% placement क्योंकि वो school teaches electronics, computer science, IT only and MCA. ये चारों के तो वैसे ही placement होना है. ब्रांडिंग तो है ही है और आईपी यूनिवर्सिटी का नाम है, ऑटोमेटिकली 100% प्लेसमेंट हो जाते हैं. लेकिन यही बात क्या मेरे पास 17 इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेजेस है, सभी में ये हाल हो रहा है? आंसर इज नो. So the percentages keep varying. So conveniently what we do, we will only take the best fit and say we have reached this much. ये सब कोई करता है. It's not me doing this. Everybody does it. So to market yourselves, and if you do like things, okay, on the periphery you're correct, but on the heart of heart, you know there's a lot of work to be done. Coming to NIT Kurukshetra, it's a cakewalk for me. Having seen the kind of problems there, here the students are all good. यहाँ पे एक ही प्रॉब्लम मैंने ऑब्जर्व किया है, वो ये है, कोई भी बच्चा एक भी सब्जेक्ट में फेल होता है तो उसको प्लेसमेंट में बिठाया नहीं जाता है. उसको मैंने स्लाइटली ट्वीक किया है. लेट्स से 100 क्रेडिट्स आपको अर्न करने हैं. आई मेड इट 106 क्रेडिट्स नाउ. यू अर्न 100. इसमें 2 पेपर फेल हो गए, कोई फर्क नहीं, आप प्लेसमेंट में जा सकते हो, बिकॉज आई एम गिविंग यू डिग्री ऑन 100 क्रेडिट्स एंड नॉट ऑन 106 क्रेडिट्स. तो इससे वो जो 2-3% के बच्चे हैं जिनके हेल्थ इश्यूज की वजह से हो, या रॉन्ग डायरेक्शन जाने की वजह से हो, या टीचर पसंद नहीं है उसकी वजह से हो, फेल हो जाता है, तो उस बच्चे को प्लेसमेंट में बैठने नहीं दिया जाता है. नाउ वी आर क्रिएटेड ए मैकेनिज्म वेयर ही कैन सिट even if he has lost 1-2 subjects. So this is one deviation. Otherwise, 98 to 99% children are eligible to sit in placement activity, and internships में 85% लोगों को absorb कर लिया गया है. और हमारे यहाँ 6 month का internship compulsory है. सारे हो गए, बीटेक के हो गए, एमटेक के हो गए. हमारे यहाँ झगड़ा उल्टा होता है. My teachers are not allowing them for internship. Why? Because they get stipend here, they will get money there also. और यहाँ इनको अच्छे प्रोजेक्ट्स कराने के लिए यहाँ नहीं रहेगा, बच्चा वहां दौड़ेगा. उसके पास 2 ऑप्शंस हैं, एक तो अच्छा प्लेसमेंट मिलेगा, एक अच्छा पैकेज भी मिल जाएगा वहां 6 महीने करने से.
So he is interested there.
He is interested there.
But teacher wants he should work on his project.
He should be here. So this is a different situation here. So for me, placements is not at all a problem. 100% I can give you that. 100% we touch, barring 1-2% that depend on the student's problem. So मुझे placements पर से नहीं चाहिए, मुझे कुछ और आइडियाज हैं, मुझे स्टार्टअप्स इंक्रीज करने हैं, मुझे एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप बढ़ाना है, मुझे मेरी 40,000 अलुमिनी से कनेक्ट करना है जो कि पूरे वर्ल्ड में बैठे हुए हैं अच्छे अच्छे पोजीशंस पे, उनसे पैसा लेके आना है 200-300-400 करोड़, so that we add more value to NIT Kurukshetra. So these are different things I am looking at it. Employability increase करने के भी जरिए वही लोग हैं. They have problems, bring 1 or 2 problems here, they let them pump 2-3 crores as seed money. My काम, मेरा काम, मेरे बच्चे का काम शुरू हो जाएगा. एक और स्लोगन लेके शुरू हो गया हूँ, don't give us problems, don't take us as interns, don't give us piecemeal this thing कि इतना stipend देंगे, हमें partners बनाओ.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes, make my students as partners of your company. They are your juniors. You want work from us, you want to make billions out of it, make them partners. तो अभी जो भी आइडियाज आ रहे हैं उनको मैं पार्टनर्स बना रहा हूँ जिससे उनको भी इंटरेस्ट ज्यादा हो रहा है, एंटरप्रेन्योरियल ट्रेड्स बढ़े. So that's the idea with which I am shaping up the very idea of offering them for these people. तो वो आइडिया है, उस पे लेके चल रहे हैं.
Professor Reddy, you have already taken more than your 2.5, I mean 2.5 hours. So I must say it must be quite exhausting for you, but I have a couple of more important points, sir. The time duration depends upon your answer only. I would like you to tell us something about R&D ecosystem in NIT Kurukshetra in brief.
Okay, one example I have already given you about MSME.
Right, sir.
Right. The second thing I can tell you is we have invested 200 crores on Siemens Center. There are 11 laboratories, which 11 laboratories which can help you in design of a new product or train you in the latest technologies of industry.
Right, sir.
So the intent of using Siemens Center is for internships, for doing projects, for training people around the area, and taking job works from MSMEs and others. That was the intent with which 200 crores is invested into it. And all our students are exposed to them. Mechanical, electrical, electronic students per se are exposed to them. All our faculty are getting training in these laboratories for doing their projects or for PhD work. So this is one dimension of R&D when I can talk about. I've already have 11 MOUs within these 11 months. One MOU per month. I can give you the example of DRDO, ISRO. Now, if you take the example of DRDO, the government of India has allocated 10,000 crores for DRDO, developing DRDO ecosystem. Where they want to focus on more defense sector and they want to earn more revenue through that, selling the product to the world. Maybe that is the idea, or more innovations into those ideas. So looking at that, 2,500 crores is earmarked to connect themselves to the academics. That makes it DRDO will give their problems to the academic institutions and they are going to pump in 2,500 crores for it. I was the first to request DRDO that I am ready for these proposals. So we have an MOU with them. And the outcome of those MOUs is they have requested us to start a PG program in defense studies, which we accepted. Number one. Number two, we accepted their request for doing MTech and PhD in my campus on a hybrid mode. So all the scientists working in DRDO can earn a higher degree at NIT Kurukshetra.
Okay. Wonderful.
Hybrid mode. So this is with DRDO. And the third thing we are asking is how much of 2,500 crores you are going to pump to us. This is with DRDO. ISRO has different challenges and problems. So they offer us in terms of projects. So we have 4 projects with them and people are working. So this is how you improve your R&D sector.
Wonderful.
So PhD programs and this way with ISRO. And the first one I talked about is DRDO. And we have also tied up with 3 foreign universities. Right? I may not be giving you the detail, but the intent is promotion of or exchange of students, exchange of PhD scholars and faculty for bettering this thing. And already 3-4 of my faculty, they are visiting different countries on it 1 month, 2 month basis. So they are trying to get ideas from there and then trying to bring to my table, how do we develop MOUs with them? So this is another thing the ministry also wants to enhance this kind of MOUs with them. Now, when you talk about R&D, we have got 7 R&D projects with a worth of 1 crore each. Then we have last month we have received for the chemistry department under SERB and DST 1.15 crores each worth. We have got 4 projects. Then we do have number of PhDs developed in each, and also we do a lot of consultancy. So consultancy में maximum area में जो होता है वो civil engineering और हमारा सीमन सेंटर, इनके जरिए हम बाहर के काम करते हैं. Others also are there, but not to that extent. We have earned almost 10 crores as the consultancy work. So this is 1 year data. I'm not talking about a cumulative data. This is the one that is done in that. And as I told you, other institutions where we are working on is how do we develop holistic personality. Under this, we have tied up with UNESCO. We have tied up with Brahma Kumari's Raja Yoga Educational Foundation. So the idea behind these MOUs is how do we teach heartfulness. There are organizations. See, we do have wonderful spiritual organizations who have wonderful knowledge to share, but there is no way that it can be shared in a technical institute. So through MOUs, I told you Thought Lab. So we are using Thought Lab as a process to help the children do this. Similarly, I gave you other organizations like UNESCO. They want to teach us emotional intelligence. So they have an MOU with me. They will give you online components. Students can take those classes and then earn their what you call as credits. So that is another process. So I'm not blindly looking at progress only in one direction as material thing. I'm also looking at the other dimension also. So that's how we are looking at. And in future, since I gave targets to the new 112 faculty whom I have employed this year, I said the slogans are very clear. 1 faculty, 1 lab. You have to develop your own lab. Money I will give you. Now, it's you are going to do that. 2, go for as much as R&D funding as possible. NIT Kurukshetra has got a national character and any agency is ready to give you funding without any doubt. The only thing is problems have to go there. So each one go for an R&D project, and generously I am giving you PhD scholars. I have changed all the rules of PhD enrollment so that you will generously get students, because so far so good we have been taking only candidates who are qualifying our test and who are given scholarship. Beyond that we don't take. Now I opened the gates for self-financing also. And earlier, until unless a faculty had got 5 internationally reputed papers, he was not given a PhD scholar. Now I said make it 3. And if you have 3, you will be a co-guide. You don't need to be a regular guide. But you will have somebody to start with it. Because you are specifically asking how do you improve your R&D this thing. This is how you're going to do it.
This obviously.
And we have 17 PG programs. And defense studies will be the 18th one. So this is about that particular. I did not talk about BTech programs because that doesn't count on your R&D.
Right. So one of the last interaction point before I end it up, sir, with question on you only. This is the question, and one more last interaction point will be, though you have already mentioned about this particular thing many places in our previous interaction, but still I would like to ask you, sir, if anything is left and you want to share with us, and that is related to entrepreneurial ecosystem and startup culture in NIT Kurukshetra.
Okay. I'll answer it slightly changing the context also and ending with what you have asked. My plan is to improve the revenue model of NIT system also. This is again a revolutionary idea. Nobody has thought about it. But he is being practiced in many private universities in this country. Why a brand like NIT should not explore itself for its own self-sustenance? How long you're going to remain getting funding from the central fund? Right? You'll have to think these directions. And the second question is, how do we promote multidisciplinary approach? And then your last question, how do you enhance your employability? How do you enhance your R&D ecosystem? So on and so on. I'll club all of these things into one solution. I'm planning to start 7 BTech programs.
Okay.
Right? Now, in these BTech programs, all the 7 are multidisciplinary in approach. Now, you may ask, is it that you are wanting to experiment or already you have experimented? My answer to it is, already we have done it in IP University. We have experimented it and we are successful. Now, what are those 4 programs which I started at IP University in my East campus? Is AI and data science is one BTech program, not MTech. Intake is 120, not 60. Fees is double, not 1.5, 3 lakhs. So this is the model. And I have started 4 programs. AI and data science, okay? IIoT, robotics and automation, right? AI and machine learning. These are the 4 programs. What is the current scenario? First year, 480 seats, all full, without one vacancy. Fees, double. Then, second year, same story. So that makes it, there is a market, a big market, where 9 out of 10 jobs are here in these 4. Now you have asked one question, what should these private institutions should do? Answer is simple. Readjust your mechanical into AI and robotics and automation. Right? Similarly, I have got 7 BTech programs here in NIT. So I want one engineering department to groom one multidisciplinary course, like electronics and communications. Let them take IIoT, industrial IoT as their base. Start grooming. First 2 years, I don't need faculty. I don't need any manpower from outside. I don't need any additional lab facilities. Because this is multidisciplinary approach. फर्स्ट ईयर कॉमन है, सेकेंड ईयर भी मोर और लेस कॉमन ही होगा, क्योंकि इधर उधर से सब्जेक्ट्स आएंगे, बास्केट्स दे दूंगा और पढ़ाऊंगा. 2 साल के लिए मेरे पास पैसे ही पैसे हैं, कोई खर्चा नहीं है.
And then you can create facilities with that.
Then third and fourth year I will do it. मेरे पास 2-3 साल चाहिए ना. अभी मैंने आपको 4 प्रोग्राम बताया, 3 नहीं बताया. 3 भी तो बताओ और क्या कर रहे हैं. One program is on renewable energies and future technologies. That's a BTech given to electrical department. Okay. And the next program I'm giving to the civil engineering is, I want sustainable technologies and green technologies in the future. So I'm giving them architecture and planning along with civil engineering to develop that course. ठीक है. एक और प्रोग्राम है जो कि हमारे बेसिक साइंसेस वाले परेशान रहते हैं कि हम केवल फर्स्ट ईयर के अलावा कुछ नहीं पढ़ाते. मैंने कहा ठीक है, मैथमेटिक्स एंड कंप्यूटिंग कर लो, जॉइंट प्रोग्राम है कंप्यूटर साइंस और आपका बीटेक इन दिस. बहुत सारे यूनिवर्सिटीज ने शुरू किया है, मैं कोई नया चीज नहीं बता रहा हूँ, एनआईटीज ने भी शुरू किया है. व्हाट आई एम डूइंग इज इन ए डिलेड फैशन, जो 10 साल पहले होना था, क्योंकि अभी बना हूँ डायरेक्टर, तो अभी से ये वाला प्रोसेस शुरू किया. 60-year-old institution still relying on only 7 BTech programs is not good.
Very true, sir.
तो
So
इसको
not only you are adding bricks to the institute, after this gap you are also adding the new courses also, sir.
Right. तो इसमें अब आप सोचिए 120 इंटेक लेके चलूंगा, 7 बीटेक प्रोग्राम्स, तो मैं कितना रेवेन्यू जनरेट करूंगा डबल फीस में.
That's true.
टीचर तो एक ही चाहिए ना, आप इसे पढ़ाऊंगा ना ड्राइंग 120 का,
That's true.
आपको एक असिस्टेंट एक दे दूंगा, दो दे दूंगा, बट पढ़ाओगे तो आप ही ना,
Right. No
प्रोफेसर
additional
आप हो,
course. Yeah.
राइट.
Mm.
So that is how I am planning. Now this will boost your problem tackling ability around your area. आपको 50 किलोमीटर से धीरे धीरे आप 100 किलोमीटर चले जाओ, all problems you can tackle here. Not only this, the government wants you to be partnering in skill development programs by bringing in school dropouts and others to your campus, give them certificate programming and all that. ये भी मेरे mind में है. But all these things need manpower, time, effort, and mad people like me. So
Passionate people like you.
yeah. So
Professor
that's what
Reddy,
I'm
these new buzzwords like data science, artificial intelligence, IoTs, Industry 4.0, how they are impacting the conventional education system of institute like NIT?
आपको मैंने बताया था, एक ह्यूमन एग्जांपल लेके सारा एक्सप्लेन किया.
I think that is
नीड ऑल ऑफ इट ना. आपको क्या चाहिए अल्टीमेटली? आपको कंफर्ट बढ़ाना है, स्पीड बढ़ाना है, जल्दी जल्दी काम होना है. आपको एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल से क्लोज करता हूँ, बिकॉज यू आर आस्किंग मी. मैंने कौन सा आइडिया को सेल किया और पार्टनर्स बनाया, वो बताते हैं आपको. द आइडिया इज सिंपल. हर इंसान के पास समय की कमी है, एंड आई वांट टू एफिशिएंटली यूटिलाइज माय टाइम. आपके आधा से ज्यादा आईटी का जो सॉल्यूशंस है ना, वो इसी पे काम कर रहे हैं. ऑटोमेशन ऑफ बैंक हो, एटीएम हो, या कोई भी चीज हो, एयरलाइंस हो, रेलवे हो, क्या किया हम लोगों ने? वी आर सेविंग टाइम ऑफ योर्स. एफर्ट कम करा रहे हैं, आपका काम कर रहे हैं, उसकी सर्विसेज ले रहे हैं, उससे पैसे बना रहे हैं, वो अलग बात. हर चीज का पैसा लेते हैं हम. लेकिन आप क्या कैलकुलेट करो, अब मैं यहाँ से रेलवे स्टेशन जाऊंगा, वापस आऊंगा, तेल इतना फूकूंगा, इससे तो साले इसको 2% दे ही दो. इज व्हाट वी आर लुकिंग एट, right? So that has become a big business now. So saving time in itself is a big business. दूसरा जो है एनर्जी सेव करना, है ना, efficiently utilize. ये इंजीनियरिंग का डेफिनेशन है. So engineering is all about utilizing your time and energy efficiently, and that's what I'm doing.
Wonderful.
So right now, in what I'm doing with IIoT or these things is, using these technologies, I'm making the whole world appear to be at your fingertips. Every activity can be done sitting here. How we have changed the way we communicate, how the way we email things, how do we talk these days today? Otherwise, you have to travel all the way, stay in my guest house, be my guest, then come here, sit with me. How much time you have saved in this whole process?
That's true.
Probably you would have come for the first time to request me, then I would say, "ठीक है, मैं सोचूंगा." How life has become so easy for you.
That's true, sir.
But ultimate objective is attained or not. I'm also ready, you're also ready. But the whole problem is that the in-between things were not ready. I was passionate because I know this will reach many people. I want to communicate. I want to tell to the whole world what I'm thinking. I may be wrong. I may be right. I don't know. But these are the ideas. So this is how we'll have to do things. So this is how I am looking for the roadmap of NIT. And hopefully 2027, I'll be able to answer you again what I have achieved in these 5 years.
In fact, my last point of the interaction today was this only, Professor Reddy. How do you see 2027 for you when you go from NIT Kurukshetra?
I see 7 BTech programs complete, all for 4 years. Running successfully. And then I see almost 1,500 crores I'll pump in to bring in more infrastructure. And already government has committed to give me. That is much more interesting to say. So if they have committed, they are forthcoming, they have believed in me. So I'll have to deliver. So the next step is me and my team, how fast we can go. And that's the key. Even if I run at 100, but if others are not allowing me to run, then also there is a problem. So I'll have to motivate them to that extent and start working to ensure things are on the positive side. And the second thing I'm looking at is, as I always said, to bring in an ecosystem where you will start um, engulfing 50 kilometers at one go, then the 100-kilometer radius, and then 200-kilometer radius, and see to it all that area is so well illuminated by NIT that wherever you go, they will say NIT ka den hai. So something I am looking forward कि ऐसा कोई system आ जाना चाहिए जिसमें NIT का flag should be high and should be recognized all over the world that this is a successful model. Everybody has to follow. There's the second thing I'm looking at. And the third thing I'm looking at is I'm not really shying away with the technologies. I want all the new technologies to be taught, but integrated with my Indian knowledge. So there I'll give you sustainable technologies. So this is the third very important thing I'm looking forward to give you sustainable technologies. These are all big statements and a director can give, but how much he will be successful, only time will tell you. But I dream like this and I wish these things happen by 2027. Not only that, I also see other NITs, IITs and others also take cue from some of the ideas which I'm saying, or they have better ideas than what I'm saying. They also come up with their own ideas and start working for a wonderful, beautiful country, India, and a better place to live in the world. And the whole world becomes Vasudeva Kutumbakam.
Wonderful, sir. Let me thank you, Professor Reddy, at the end. And I must admit very honestly that I got far more than what I expected, sir, in the beginning of the interview. I never expected such beautifully explained all the things, full of knowledge, full of elaborations. And to my utter satisfaction, I must say, sir, you have provided detailed explanation to all my interaction points. And I'm very sure whosoever will be listening to us, students, mentors, teachers, industry people, whosoever, they will get immensely benefited by these words of wisdom from your side. So I thank you once again, sir, for your time, and I wish you all the very best for your future endeavor and for your health. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for interacting with us and giving all the time and wonderfully articulating things so that whatever I was thinking in my mind has come to words. And I take it as a commitment when I speak anytime at any forum. I take it as a commitment that since I have told, I have no business to backtrack on it. I'll have to keep forward and keep working. And this message I keep giving to every student, and I think the changes will come and everybody will appreciate and understand my viewpoint. And one question you did miss, you gave me something on that when you become somebody, God's will and all that. So since that question has not come, I'll end up here. But that also is in my mind. See, the more you grow, the more humble you should be.
Yes, sir. That
And
was
the
related
more
to
responsible you have to be.
yes, sir. So that should
Because
keep in mind. But if you become AICT chairman, because I could make some kind of correlation.
it's
So,
not about becoming a chairman of a particular organization, so on and so forth. My
yes,
general statement would be the more higher you grow, the more humble you should be and more responsible you should be.
yes,
Because now your shoulders are now full. You will have to deliver. So whenever you are asking me to sit and deliver, I will always look forward to find ways and means to do those things. And given an opportunity for the next 20 years, probably I'll change the education model of this country.
surely. I'm
Given
very
an
sure.
opportunity,
I'm very
right?
sure.
Starting from primary education.
Give you giving your guidance and blessings to all of us, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.